Good evening and good to have you with us on this edition of the Urban Debate. Viewers, our top story tonight is Sushant, but we are going to get you the 4 other top national stories here on the 8 p.m. edition of the Urban Debate. Let's begin with the latest in the Sushant Singh death probe. And of course, the spotlight today was on Enforcement Directorate and the ED questioning Rhea Chakrabarti as well as her brother and her associates all day long at the ED headquarters here in Mumbai. We do know that Rhea Chakrabarti is still inside, but some of her associates have been allowed to go, including Shruti Modi, who has now left the ED office. We've accessed all the inside details, and I'm going to break it down for you. Each angle, the inside details, so what it is that ED wanted to ask, what has been the response that Rhea Chakrabarti has given, to what extent have they managed to get her to cooperate, what about the others? Were they grilled together or separately? All of those details will be given to you here over the next several minutes. ED has also asked Rhea Chakrabarti to share her income tax returns for the past 5 years along with several other details. Let's bring in our reporters. Sandhya and Mayuresh both have been tracking this through the day and are joining me right now. Sandhya, let's begin with you. Take us through what happened through the day inside the Enforcement Directorate office here in Mumbai.
So Tanvi, it was at 11:50 a.m. that Rhea Chakrabarti actually came to ED office. We are actually right now outside ED office, and just a while ago, Shruti Modi, her former manager, who actually at one point of time also handled Sushant's account, stepped out, and in fact the CA Ritesh Shah also stepped out. But Rhea, as of now, is yet to come out. So the questioning started at around 12. In fact, at one point of the day, ED sources also informed Times Network that how Rhea Chakrabarti is not cooperating. In fact, Rhea was accompanied by her brother, Shouvik Chakrabarti, and her father, Indrajit Chakrabarti. And both of these people are also named in Bihar Police's FIR, Tanvi. In fact, Shouvik Chakrabarti at some point in the day stepped out of ED office. He, according to ED sources, was asked to bring some papers to ED office. So he went outside, he brought some papers back. And you also, as you also mentioned, that how Rhea Chakrabarti is asked to show the papers of filing of her IT returns of the last 5 years. And ED's line of questioning, of course, the first major point here, Tanvi, was, and the questioning actually is continuing right now as well. First point of questioning was the money laundering allegation which was made by Sushant's family. Sushant's family actually in its complaint has mentioned that how rupees 15 crore were withdrawn from Sushant's account, and the family suspects that that money has actually gone to Rhea Chakrabarti and her family members and other associates. Though Mumbai police from the very beginning is claiming that no such transactions took place, but ED has a different tale to tell. ED has said that there are some huge transactions which have taken place from Sushant's account to Rhea's account. Other than that, the second angle here, Tanvi, the line of questioning was Rhea's real estate investments, which ED has to check whether or not they were made with Sushant's money, they were bought by Sushant's money or not. And third is about the companies in which Rhea's brother and Sushant were partners. Tanvi.
Okay, now stay on with me because Sandhya, I want to take this, minute by minute what's happened through the day. And Sandhya, the first thing before Rhea Chakrabarti reached there was the attempt by her team to seek more time, but that changed very quickly. First, take our viewers through that sequence of events in the morning when we learned that her lawyer is asking for exemption for today.
What do you have to say about the allegations that have been leveled against you, Rhea? There are a lot of allegations against you, Rhea. The father has said that you were involved.
So Sandhya, this is when she finally reached, but before that, tell our viewers what happened with her lawyers actually seeking exemption today, which wasn't given.
Yes, absolutely, Tanvi. It was in the morning that Riya Chakravarti's lawyer actually issued a statement that Riya has requested ED to postpone recording of her statement, considering the fact that her petition in Supreme Court is still pending for the hearing. But ED rejected that request, and it was after that at 11:50, sharp 11:50 a.m., Riya Chakravarti reached ED office, and at the same time, another statement from Riya's lawyer came, Tanvi, where he mentioned that because Riya is a law-abiding citizen and she has learned from media that ED has rejected her request. That's why she has reached ED office on the set time and day. And since then, Riya Chakravarti is inside this ED office, ED unit of Mumbai, and her questioning is going on. And ED sources have said that how Riya Chakravarti is not cooperating. Tanvi.
Okay, let me also go across to Mayuresh, who's also be tracking this story for us. So Mayuresh, of course, the ED today, like Sandhya was pointing out, had a series of questions for Riya Chakravarti, specifically about the two companies. But the other aspect, of course, is the CBI investigation. And Mayuresh, as far as the CBI investigation is concerned, we have been told that the Maharashtra government is going to vehemently oppose that. Take us through what is Maharashtra government's strategy.
Certainly, Maharashtra government is going to oppose the CBI intervention in this case in Supreme Court, because if you remember, Tanvi, Supreme Court had given all three parties, that is Centre government, Bihar government and Maharashtra government, to even the Reha, to file their say, to file an affidavit. Even they had asked Maharashtra government to give us the detailed report from the Mumbai police, what investigation so far they have done. But Maharashtra government is quite firm on their stand. They have clearly said, the sources within the Maharashtra government have informed the Times Network that there is no need for the CBI investigation in this, because they do feel that Mumbai police is doing very professional job and their investigation is on right track. And that's why Maharashtra government sources have clearly said that when the next hearing will start, they are going to vehemently oppose the CBI intervention in the Sushant Singh death case.
Okay, so they are going to oppose the CBI, intervention, but even as they say that and claim that things are moving very, very quickly, because the information is just coming in that the documents related to the Sushant Singh Rajput death case have actually been handed over to the CBI by the Bihar police. Now, of course, Bihar police was here only for about a week where they were investigating the case. They didn't even get the details of, as far as the forensic or the autopsy is concerned. It was more about the statements that they took from various people and of course, what has been given to them by the family's own initial scrutiny that they carried out before they filed the complaint. All of those details have now been handed over to the CBI by the Bihar police. This is the confirmation that's just coming in from the CBI. Now, what happens next, Sandhya? We understand that ED is likely to question Riya again. Of course, she's still there at the office and that's where you're standing. But it's not going to end today. They will be calling her again.
Yes, absolutely, Tanvi, because ED has very precisely said that how she's not cooperating and there are chances that she might be called again next week for questioning. Now, along with her, whether her brother and father will also be called or not, that is again, we have to wait and watch that. But today, when she came, she was accompanied by her brother and her father. In fact, after Riya Chakravarti, her former manager, Shruti Modi, also came here. She was also summoned by ED Tanvi, and Shruti Modi actually left just now, and now it's expected that Riya Chakravarti will also step out any moment. And the questioning actually, because it's already 8 and it started at around 12, so it's already been 8 hours that Riya Chakravarti is inside this ED office, this ED unit of Mumbai, and the questioning continues. Now, ED has given certain details that how she has been asked to file show ITR of last 5 years to ED. ED has also said that how she is not cooperating. In fact, her brother Shouvik Chakravarti stepped out during the probing and he brought back some documents, because apart from the money laundering charges which she's facing, which Riya Chakravarti is facing, Tanvi, her real estate investments are also under the under ED scanner, ED's radar. ED is definitely going to look into the fact that the investment which she made, the flats which she bought, whether or not those flats were bought with Sushant's money or not, because that is another allegation the family is making, that how Rhea first used Sushant for betterment of her career and then exploited him for his money. So those are the allegations, but major allegation here is money laundering. Those 15 crore rupees, where did that money go? Whether or not that money was siphoned off, whether there were shell companies involved, all those details is something ED is planning to question and actually question Rhea Chakravarti on. Tanvi.
Remember last night here on the Urban Debate, we had the Bihar DGP who actually made an appeal to the civic body saying, please let my cop go, send him back home. Now, Mayuresh is with us. Mayuresh, of course, 2 days ago on August 5th is when Supreme Court had some very harsh things to say about the conduct of the Maharashtra government and the police in this specific angle, but it still took them a lot of time. Vinay Tiwari, who was only allowed to leave today. What happened? Tell us the inside details of why did it take so long for the civic body to take this action?
See, a civic body has given one reason. They have given the reason of Maharashtra government's Epidemic Act. Also, they have given the rules which Maharashtra government and state government of India have formed in this pandemic. So they clearly said that the rules says that if a person is coming from other state via flight, he has to remain for 14 days into home quarantine, and that's why they put Vinay Tiwari into home quarantine. If you carefully listen to the reaction which Vinay Tiwari, the Bihar police SP level officer had gave, he clearly said that I was not in quarantine, but BMC put entire investigation of Bihar police into quarantine. So it's a very meaningful reaction which we got it from there. Also, as you said, Tanvi, even Supreme Court criticized Maharashtra government for this particular move. But after that also we saw when first application for exemption was made by Bihar police, that time BMC chief came on record and he clearly told Mirror Now that we have no issues, we will grant him. But on that day itself, it was rejected. So when Bihar police decided that the case has been already handed over to the CBI and the SP level officer Vinay Tiwari should come back, and they made another application that our officer we are calling him back from the Mumbai. That time BMC gave him a clearance, and they said they cited a rule that if a person is coming on a short duration, that is of 7 days, then there is no need to put that person into home quarantine for 14 days. The person can go back. So certainly Maharashtra government or the BMC's this particular behavior was criticized by everyone, not only by the Bihar police or the Bihar government, but also by the Supreme Court.
All right, Mayuresh. In fact, let me also bring in Bhavtosh at this point of time. And as we were talking about the questioning that still goes on, it's still on at the Enforcement Directorate office here in Mumbai. But Bhavtosh has more details about the exact line of questioning and the kind of responses that were being given by Rhea Chakravarti. Bhavtosh, like you've been reporting from day one, ED had to focus on especially those two companies that Rhea and her brother set up. Take us through the details.
Tanvi, as far as the Enforcement Directorate case is concerned, they have said that today they called Rhea Chakravarti for questioning. Initially, she, through her lawyers, had claimed that she can't join the probe because Supreme Court is still hearing the matter. But subsequently, maybe because of same advice given by her legal team, she decided to join the investigation. And today, for the first time, 4 persons who are associated with that company were questioned for a very long time. In fact, rightly said that Rhea is still being questioned. Sources in ED have said that she will be asked to leave the ED office by 9 p.m. and it's expected that she will be asked to join the investigation again. But what is very surprising is, despite her claim by her team that she had all the documents of the properties which allegedly belonged to her, she could not produce them. And that was the reason why her brother Shobik was sent back and asked to bring those documents. She has also could not produce the income tax return between 2015 and 2019. Her income tax return of last financial year was around, her income was around 14 lakh rupees, And her father's income stood at around 8 lakh rupees, which was basically the pension that he received from Indian Army. Now, ED suspect that shell companies were set up by Riya Chakravarti and her brother. Sushant was one of the directors of this company, and it could be possible that money laundering happened from these two shell companies, which had a share capital of around 100,000 rupees, and 33,000 rupees was given by both Riya and her brother Shouvik Chakravarti. Interestingly, that 33,000 rupees was in fact transferred from the bank account of Sushant to Shouvik's bank account, and that's how these companies were set up. ED has said that tomorrow they will call Siddharth Pathani, a close friend of Riya Chakravarti, for questioning, and other players might also be summoned in days to come.
Bhavtosh, at the heart of this was the allegation made by the family about 15 crore rupees going missing. Is that also something specific that the ED will ask? Has the ED so far, based on what Bihar police or the family has said, found any evidence of this so-called missing 15 crore?
Well, ED is very tight-lipped as to whether 15 crores was allegedly siphoned off by Riya and her family members, but they have said that they have taken the complaint of the father on the face value because Bihar police has filed an FIR. They're scanning through the financial statement and bank records of Sushant Singh Rajput. That's the reason why on Monday his chartered accountant Sandeep Sridhar was called in for questioning, and for the first time Riya Chakravarti's lawyer was also called in. His name is Ritesh Shah. He, along with her former business manager, Shruti Modi, were questioned for 7 to 8 hours. Just a few minutes back, they have left ED office at Ballard Estate in Fort area of Mumbai. And ED has said that they will scan through and also analyze all the documents before officially saying whether there was a 15 crore rupee that went missing from the bank accounts of Sushant Singh Rajput.
Okay, so nothing yet, but that is definitely something that they are looking at. Bhavtosh, thanks so much for joining us with more details. Of course, Bhavtosh tracking this story from the national capital. As far as the enforcement directorate is concerned, Mayuresh and Santya here in Mumbai tracking the story for us, with all the spotlight at Ballard Estate ED office. Mayuresh, now while the ED investigation continues, CBI investigation is the other one. You were telling us the Maharashtra government has said that they are going to oppose the CBI probe, but there is still a lot of politics going around it. Now, initially there was also Parth Pawar who raised the issue of a CBI investigation. BJP has been demanding it, saying there is something wrong, there is something definitely that is being covered up. What's happening within the political circles today? Any fresh allegations being made?
No fresh allegation, but as you pointed out, Tanvi, yes, Parth Pawar's letter to Home Minister of Maharashtra, Anil Deshmukh, to initiate the CBI inquiry in this was a really shocker for NCP, because NCP, who is in the power, they are holding the home portfolio. Parth Pawar is not a small person. He is a son of Deputy CM Ajit Pawar and grandson of NCP Supremo Sharad Pawar. So certainly it was a really shocker for not only for the NCP but for entire Mahavikas Aghadi. On the other hand, we saw that Aditya Thackeray also came out and he clearly said that it's a attempt by few people to malign my as well as my family's name, and they are unnecessarily dragging my name into this controversy, as I have nothing to do with it. Though I have a good contacts with Bollywood people and I'm associated with them in some other way. But so these kind of politics was happening in the state because BJP was continuously asking for CBI probe. They were saying that Mumbai police investigation is not on right track, and that's why there is a need for a CBI, because this entire issue is a national issue, and CBI is the only agency who can do a thorough investigation.
All right, Mayuresh, thanks so much for bringing us that angle as well. Now, let's also tell you what's happening in the Supreme Court. Centre moved the Supreme Court to an impleadment application asking to be a party in the ongoing case that has been filed by Riya Chakravarti. Now, remember, Riya is seeking the transfer of the case from Bihar to Maharashtra. But of course, all of this now also includes the stepping in of the CBI. So Meenakshi Banja is in fact joining us with more details. Meenakshi, the fight was so far between Bihar police and Mumbai police about who will investigate, and now the CBI has jumped in and Centre wants to be part of this case. What happens next? What is the government saying in its application?
Well, that's right, Tanvi. You see, everything that is going to play out now is going to be with a sanction or permit of the Supreme Court, or at best with a nod of the top court. And this is very evident from the fact that what transpired in the last hearing. What happened last time was this, Tanvi, that the central government introduced a massive twist for the first time in this case when the solicitor informed the Supreme Court that the central government is supporting the recommendation of the Bihar government seeking a CBI probe. With that, what became apparent was the Supreme Court passed order for that day's hearings, in which the Supreme Court noted that the central government should file an impleadment application making itself formally a party to the case. That impleadment application today has come by, and why that is significant is, for the first time now, we know the government of India's position on this case. Thus far, the government's position was unknown or it was silent, but the last hearing really took the lid off it. And we saw yesterday CBI acting in consonance with the submissions the central government had made before the Supreme Court register a formal FIR in the case. So today, that notification of DOPT, which is the nodal body which monitors the CBI, has been placed on record for the Supreme Court's perusal. And interestingly, this also now makes the argument of the Bihar government and Sushant Singh Rajput's family's argument more pertinent, because they are likely to tell the Supreme Court in the next hearing that Riya herself had been batting for an independent or a CBI probe, so it should not matter to her if it is the state of Maharashtra or the state of Bihar which is investigating the case, because now the case has been formally handed over to the CBI, which will have overarching powers in the matter. So it is slated for a crucial, or rather interesting outcome in the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court said it wants to peruse through the replies of the Maharashtra government. We know the Maharashtra government's reply has been filed in a sealed cover. We know already the arguments the Maharashtra government made in the last date of hearing. The Bihar government's affidavit we are in possession of, which is a 28-page document, where again the Bihar government is lending the might to the Bihar police's FIR. We know the formal impleadment application that the central government has filed, which we are in possession of. So after perusal of all these documents, it will be the Supreme Court which will go on to determine, or rather put its stamp of approval on the veracity of which investigating agency should really go ahead and conduct investigations into this case.
All right, Meenakshi, also, the fact being that the Bihar government has also filed an affidavit, and obviously they are opposing what the Riya's plea is, which is the transfer of the case. Now, the Supreme Court had asked all three of them to do so. We understand so far only Bihar has filed its affidavit.
Well, that's right, and we are in possession of the Bihar government's affidavit, which was filed in the first half at around 10 or 9:30 in the morning today. It's a 28-page document which points to what Bihar government is terming as a purported conspiracy, a purported element of blackmail by Riya Chakrabarti of Sushant Singh Rajput, which purportedly led him to taking his life. Very interestingly, Bihar government is saying that Sushant wanted to give up the industry, the film industry entirely, wanted to go back home and perhaps explore an alternate career as a farmer or get into farming, and Riya was opposed to that. She went, according to the Bihar government, to the extent of blackmailing him and threatening him with the exposure of his medical evaluation records in public, which again put him in the back foot. The Bihar government also says that when she went back to a Santa Cruz house on the 8th of July, she collected a lot of valuables, including jewelry and credit card documents with her, and all these cumulatively, according to the Bihar government, had a pressurizing effect on Sushant Singh Rajput, which ultimately led him to taking his life. So this is pretty much in consonance, our viewers will recall, Tanvi, with what the Bihar police is also stating in its FIR against Riya and, other associates of Sushant Singh Rajput purportedly having a role which led to his demise.
All right, Meenakshi, thanks so much for bringing us those updates as far as the court case is concerned and all the developments related to Sushant's death in the Supreme Court. Now, the other angle that the Times Network has got is the mystery of the missing pages from Sushant's diary. Now, Sushant reportedly used to maintain a diary in which he used to frequently write. We have found out that in those diary there are some pages that are missing, that have been torn. Now, it's unclear why and when did this happen and who did it. That Sushant tore off some pages himself when he was alive, we don't know. We don't even know yet. It's unclear if the Mumbai police even bothered to look at this angle and investigate this specific diary. But the Times Network did speak to those who knew Sushant regarding this specific issue. Here is what they had to say.
The way you all are probing this case, I think you have done worked very well comparison to Mumbai police. Coming to the diary, I think there is some mystery. If someone will write something and something is missing from that, who will do it? If I'm a friend or a fan, he always used to say fan is an extended family to him. Why someone will take the pages out from the diary? If you are saying that diaries are missing or all diaries are there, but something missing, some pages missing, creates a doubt. Something missing creates a doubt that something is fishy, which needs to be investigated. Why pages are removed? Did he write something there? Did he want to mention someone's name or what it is? I think they need to check, and they need to check the fingerprints on the diary. I think diary will definitely have fingerprints. No one can wash a diary, so definitely there will be some fingerprints. And I think investigation agency who are coming to take charge of this case, they must see the fingerprints on the diary. It will clear who was touching the diary or using the diary or have removed the pages.
As long as this come out of it.
मुंबई पुलिस का जो काम का तरीका है वो हम लोग पहले ही से संदेहास्पद लग रहा था, और अब आकर के वो तमाम चीज़ें सामने आ रही है कि मुंबई पुलिस कहीं न कहीं लीपापोती में लगी हुई है, मामले को ठंडे पस्ते में डालने में लगी हुई थी। हम लोग पहले ही से कर रहे हैं, मुंबई पुलिस मामले को घुमा रही है, जहां करना चाहिए काम वहां काम नहीं कर रही है, जहां पूछताछ करना चाहिए वहां पूछताछ नहीं कर रही है, बस दिखावा कर रही थी। तो अब ये चीज़ें सामने आ रही है धीरे धीरे, और अब मुझे लगता है कि अब सीबीआई की एंट्री हो गई है, और सीबीआई की एंट्री से हर कुछ सामने आएगा, इसमें कहीं कोई संदेह नहीं है।
Let's move on to the other big stories that we are tracking here. And viewers, monsoons have been creating a havoc in some of these southern states, especially the state of Kerala. And I'm going to start with Kerala right now, where in fact 3 massive landslides have struck God's own country and created and led to massive destruction. Now, these 3 landslides have happened in Idukki, Wayanad and Sabrimala. In Idukki, 15 people have died and over 50 are reportedly still missing. Now, this is the most challenging one because the weather conditions are still not good and that's hampering the rescue operations. Although through the day today, agencies and officials who are at work trying to help people and bring them out from there. 5 houses were also completely damaged in the landslides in Wayanad. Another landslide was reported in the deep forest in Sabrimala, causing water levels to rise in the Pamba river that flows through this district. Kerala yet again another year having trouble the minute monsoons and heavy rain showers and rainfalls really hit. I want to start off with more details on Idukki, where like I told you, 15 people have died, over 50 are missing. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan said that they have sought the help of the Air Force, but right now it's even difficult to carry out air rescue operations because the weather conditions are not conducive and that is actually hampering the entire rescue operations even now, even though they have said that through the night whatever can be done will be done because they don't even want to waste a single minute. The rescue mission will continue through the night. All arrangements have been made to provide enough light at the landslide site. These are the details that we're getting in as far as the government is concerned. Now, to give you a sense of just how bad it was, we have 2 pictures. The picture of this village before the landslide occurred. Take a look at that. And take a look at the destruction that's happened after the landslide. These pictures tell you the story of this village in Idukki district. This is what has happened. Imagine the destruction, the loss that we have seen. Vivek's joining me with more details. Vivek, let's start with Idukki. What's the latest ground situation right now?
Tanvi, as of now, yes, the rescue operations are still going on in Rajamala, in this particular village. where the mishap has happened, and 15 precious 15 people have lost their precious life. Remember, these are all laborers who are working in the Kannan Devan plantations. Early morning today, that's around 2:30 a.m., a landmass actually fell on the settlements. There were 36 rooms, and there were people staying in each of these rooms. There were 4 different settlements. The landmass fall on top of them, and they were some people were completely drowned, and most of the people were were actually in the debris, under the debris, and today the whole day. The NDRF, the Kerala police, the forest officials, the revenue officials were all behind, this rescue operations. It was indeed a very challenging task, especially, in a challenging weather. And also the terrain of the land is such that, rescue operations are extremely difficult in this area. Now, beating all the odds, our police officials have somehow managed to, rescue at least some people. 13 people have been hospitalized, of which the condition of one person is a bit critical. And a few people, have been, moved out to other hospitals in districts like Kottayam, in Kottayam Medical College and Kolanjeri Medical College. But if you look at the intensity of this landslide, this was one of the worst landslides that is ever seen in the recent past. Remember, in 2019, there was a landslide that took place in a place called Kalavapara in Malappuram, where nearly 45 to 50 people have lost their life. So, landslides in these hilly areas, especially in Idukki, Wayanad, and Malappuram, has been happening in the last few years. And there is, in certain areas, there are, places where human settlements are not supposed to happen, are not permitted. But still, you can see a lot of infrastructure and human settlements in these areas. The geological department has already taken up a survey, and there are certain areas where human settlements are not permitted, but violating all these things. There are people who are staying, but in this particular area in Rajamala, there was no such warning that's been issued, and there was no such incident that was reported earlier. But it was indeed shocking that today early morning this landslide happened, and it took 8 hours. It took 8 long hours for the public, for the outside world to know about this incident, which is even more shocking. The locals actually informed the forest officials. They in turn informed the district administration, and the revenue department was informed, and then the police and the fire force actually reached the spot. There was a bridge out there. The bridge was completely destroyed initially, but later the bridge was repaired, and they have managed to come to this area, and the rescue operations started at around 11 o'clock. And now what we understand is that bodies are still being recovered, and most.
Vivek, okay, so Vivek, this is as far as Idukki is concerned, but what is the forecast for the coming days? Is it going to continue to rain? And what about the destruction that we've seen in the 2 other places, especially in Wayanad?
Yes, Tanvi, coming back to Wayanad, Pathanamthitta, Kottayam district, yes, the situation is a bit grim. The water levels in the rivers, especially in these areas, the Meenachila River, the Pamba River, the water levels are increasing in these places, and also landslides has been reported in the dense forest areas of Pathanamthitta and Wayanad and Malappuram.
Okay, Vivek, stay on with me. I'm going to come back to you in just a bit. We are going to cut across to Mumbai right now, where Rhea Chakrabarti is leaving the Enforcement Directorate office. She's been there since before noon, being questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. And now, finally, she's being allowed to leave. We have been told already that ED is planning to call her again next week. Let's see if she says anything.
भाई आने देना, क्या कर रहा है? एक रास्ता तो दो।
रास्ता नहीं है ना, रास्ता नहीं है। किसका बाहर है भाई, बाहर से
थोड़ा पीछे सबको मिलेगा, पीछे आ जाओ, थोड़ा पीछे आ जाओ।
अरे साइड में हो, निकलने तो दो।
नहीं ना,
मंडल सर सब आएंगे।
हाँ हाँ
पीछे आ जाओ भाई। अरे क्या कचरा कर रहे हैं यार, चलो ना यार, पीछे आ जाओ यार सब लोग।
अरे दूर से आ जाओ, शॉट मिलता यार, समझ ही नहीं आ रहा तुम लोग को।
मोबाइल ठीक है ना, फेसबुक पे डाले भाई, आप भी लो ना, आपको क्या प्रॉब्लम?
रिकॉर्ड हो गया
अरे आपने कैमरामैन ने सांगा है
However, it seems that the security